There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Hamlet.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Mud Tower, this is Albatross 1-3, requesting permission to land. Over.
I don't need a computer to tell me how to land a damn airplane.
6.
Heads-up display, check.
5,
Lasers, check.
4,
Particle beam, check.
3,
Photon bolts, check.
2,
Chair control, check.
1.
Let's do it.
Broadcasting from a secret underground location somewhere in Mos Eisley. This is the Docking Bay 77 podcast. Make yourself comfortable. The show is about to start.
Welcome back aboard Docking Bay 77, the only podcast that promises to file its interdimensional taxes on time, but we can't guarantee the paperwork won't be cursed. I'm your host, John Williams, and today we are cracking open the first book of the Kevin Hearne's Iron Druid Chronicles, Hounded. Kind of think of it as Harry Potter meets Highlander meets, well, that one guy at your local pub who definitely swears his dog is smarter than you, and it might be right. So I'm not tackling this magic mayhem alone. Joining me are two brave souls, armed only with wit, charm, and probably some emergency snacks. First up, Liam Lewis, the man who insists he's only mostly mortal and who may or may not have challenged a dryad to a drinking contest. Liam, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Maybe I can drink you under the table after we finish this podcast.
Guess what? I can still drink under the table too. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
And of course, the sharp mind and super sharper tongue of Dana Jacobs, who, unlike our protagonist Atticus, can actually keep his houseplants alive without calling on a little interdimensional from the gods. Welcome, Dana. How are you?
Hey, Mila Fulcha.
Oh, perfect. Nice. So together we're going to dive into the druids, deities, and dogs with better personalities than most neighbors. So grab your magical amulets, watch out for the thunder gods with anger issues, and let's get hounded. So welcome. Today's topic might be about something that I may have mentioned once or twice already, but we're going to talk about Hounded today. Probably one of my most favorite modern fantasy novels that I've ever read. I was introduced to it when I was still working at the Disney company. I have never stopped, and I still listen to it and all of his other series as well. It was really difficult for me. I knew I was going to pick a Kevin Hearne book for my choice of the year for hosts. I kept flip-flopping on Dayton. He said, "You've got to pick one." I was like, "Fine, Hounded. Okay, we're going to do that." What about you guys? When was the first time that you guys heard about, read? Like, what was your first interchange or touching of this book?
Well, my introduction actually came through you, brother John. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was probably the first time you mentioned it here on Docking Bay 77. I think you mentioned it as a little aside within the episode.
Okay.
And then after we, cut at the finish, and stopped recording, I was like, so what's the deal with this book, dude? And you gave me
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember. Yeah, you gave me the whole lowdown on it. And I was like, oh, I need to find this right now. And of course, we have the Audible app. So yeah. I immediately downloaded that first audiobook and I'm up to book 3.
Nice.
I jump around in my to be read list a lot. Yeah. So I haven't picked it back up just yet, but I got all the way to book 3. I finished book 3.
Nice.
And man, that cliffhanger at the end of 3 is intense. So I definitely need to get back on that. But yeah, I as soon as I got through the first chapter, I knew I was going to be hooked on this series. We're big on Irish history and mythology in my family. We've got a lot of it in the blood. So I was whole hog on this. And I actually, it's funny, you introduced me to it. It was sometime in the spring or summer.
Okay.
That fall at the Ohio Renaissance Festival, there is this wood shop at the Renfest that makes little signs and pictures all out of wood. And they have, or at least had at the time, the Third Eye Books and Herbs sign. And I bought it. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite things that I have in my room.
That is amazing. Dana, what about you? When was the first time you got to experience this?
Actually, it was preparing for this episode. When you had mentioned it, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that sounds like something interesting I'd like. So I got the Audible,
Mm-hmm.
listened to it, and I just kept going. I'm actually on my second listen through on the series, and I'm on um book 3 again.
Oh my God, that makes me so
Yeah,
happy.
Oh, we
yeah.
both lined up, Dana.
Yeah, I got you. But it's I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, I have a long commute to work and all
Yep.
that each night, and I'll sit there and I'll just put it in while I'm driving, and just listen to it. Yeah, and they're not really long listens.
Nope.
They're relatively short as far as novels go. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as I went through the first time, I'm like, oh, it's time to buy the next book.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time to buy the next book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I was like,
And I got through it all.
that's amazing. I'm so excited that I'm so excited that I introduced you both to this, because like, to me it's this series, I can't explain it. Like, Luke Daniels really makes the series, like he brings that book to life for me. And he does the readings for all of Kevin Hearne's books. I just got done with the Ink and Sigil series, which I also highly recommend. It's done in a Ouija dialect, so it's like super Scottish and very good. And then his Seven Kennings trilogy is also fantastic. Like, and that's world building. That's all new. That there's nothing in there that is reused from someplace else. It is fabulous. So I highly recommend that as well. But just, give you some more books in your lives.
No, I was just saying, since I picked the first book back up again to prep for this podcast, I've been getting ads for his other books. The one that I'm the most excited about, honestly, is I can't remember the exact title, but it's the book that's all of the bath time stories that Atticus tells Oberon. Yeah. I was so excited about that because I love every time we get a taste of that in the main series. Yes. And so I'm loving that there's a whole book dedicated to it, because
I'm kind of interested to read or listen to the first angle. That one might be interesting.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Don't the other series also take place in the same kind of universe or world or something like that?
Ink and Sigil does, but and it picks up after the last book, right? So the world that they live in Ink and Sigil is post the apocalypse.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I knew about the series. I didn't know what the setting was for that.
Yeah, but it is in the same world, and you do meet Atticus in that particular series. He's not the main character by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a side character that comes in and out of the story a couple of times. Very, very good. The Seven Kennings is literally all world building. It is brand new. There is nothing there's nothing known before you go into the series, and it is unbelievable. It is the second listen through I thought was better, because there is a lot that you kind of like, you just have to keep hitting the I believe button and it will come together at some point. And once you get through the whole series, you're like, I'm listening again because now I know stuff, and now I want to listen to the whole thing, right? And understand it better. So it's fantastic. But let us go back to Hounded. I've got a little quick synopsis here, and then we will begin our journey through with our questions. Hounded introduces Atticus O'Sullivan, the last of the ancient Druids, who appears to be a 21-year-old occult bookshop owner in modern Arizona, but is actually over 2,000 years old. Armed with his sharp wit, earth-based magical powers, and the legendary sword Froggerah, Atticus has been living peacefully until his past catches up with him in the form of Angus Og, an angry Celtic god who has been hunting him for centuries to reclaim the magical sword he believes was stolen from him. Accompanied by his telepathically bonded Irish wolfhound, Oberon, my star, who provides humorous commentary throughout their adventures, Atticus must gather allies, including the Celtic death goddess Morrigan, and a duo of supernatural lawyers, a vampire and a werewolf, to survive the vengeful god's assault. The story blends Celtic mythology and urban fantasy, combining fast-paced action, magical battles, and witty dialogue as Atticus navigates the dangerous intersection of ancient grudges and modern life, all while his canine companion obsesses over French poodles and sausages. So that's the book we're talking about, people. I'm telling you, if that doesn't get you in there, let's go, right? So I'm just going to skip this next question that I had because we've just discussed it because I went out of order. So Let's get into.
You sold us hard on that audiobook, man. There really was no other way to experience the series after
it wasn't. Well, I'm sorry. Like, to me, every time I think of I've got a puppy and I've got a dog, right? So I've got a little one and a big one. I only think of Oberon's voice. I mean, I can only think that that's how all dogs in their heads think. Like, oh, sausages, like it just, I love him so much.
Well, and I love that idea that like, dogs can't tell time great. Like he can tell the difference between day and night, but beyond like a little while ago could have meant like 5 hours or 5 minutes.
Didn't you just talk about that like about 3,000 years ago? Like,
yeah,
it was only 30 minutes. And it's like, no, that was whatever.
It is built on that concept that dogs really don't have a great concept of time, because it's been shown that they think that when you like, oh, I'm just going to run to the store, they think you're leaving forever.
Yeah.
And then when you get home, you're like, oh my God, you've been gone so long. They're so excited to see you. They act like they haven't seen you in like 1,000 years. So yeah, I really enjoyed that kind of quirky character
right.
animal trait they brought in.
It's so driven by real life. Like, I mean, like I mean, 2 dogs, man. I can walk out the door, literally stand there for 2 minutes and walk back in the door, and I'm going to get greeted the same way as if I had left for 10 hours. Like they are, it's crazy, but it's perfect when you think about it, right? I mean, dogs can't tell time, and neither can Oberon, and he's a smart dog. I mean, he's the smartest wolfhound out there.
Yeah, and he writes in so much of the animal characteristic, not just into Oberon either, but into other things, like when when they see when we run into the pack, and then you see him in his various animal forms. He doesn't go too in depth on it, but he talks a little bit about what it's like being those different animals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's, oh man, so good. So like, what surprised you guys most about the book, and like how did it either meet or subvert your expectations for urban fantasy or mythology based fiction?
The thing that honestly made me the most happy about this, so I have a buddy who plays Dungeons and Dragons, and he told me a story one time about how the guy who DMs for his group was gonna let them make like any character they wanted.
Okay.
And so my buddy decides to make a multi-class character, a sort of jack of all trades.
Right.
But he didn't stop at like, he didn't like do what everybody else does, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make a jack of all trades, and stops at like 1 or 2 classes. No, He literally found a way to legally construct a D&D character that is every single class at once. And so I really because I've delved into some of this urban fantasy, kitchen sink fantasy type of thing, where it's like everything's real, but it's usually like supernatural creatures and then like 1 or 2 sets of deity pantheons. Right. But I was so excited when Kevin Hearne, like, no, if I'm gonna do a kitchen sink urban fantasy, I'm going to do a kitchen sink, literally, because like I think the only other book I've read so far that does that hardcore is Neil Gaiman's American Gods. Like, I really enjoyed how, and you get it more as you move further into the series, I really enjoyed how, like, no, when I say all of the gods are real, I mean all of them, every single one. And it's just so much fun, because that's my belief system anyway.
Right.
So it's nice to see Kevin write this and be like, oh my God, he's in my head. This is how I feel.
Right. I thought it was fantastic. Dana?
I love how he weaves that concept into the storytelling. I don't remember which book it was in, but he's telling like the widow McDonough at one point, like, as long as people have faith in this, it exists. And he makes okay, we're gonna jump ahead in the book 3, but he makes this kind of joke about if people would worship Star Trek, and then he has like Spock on one shoulder and Kirk on the other, and he does the he does like the speaking back and forth. But
he does the Leonard and William impression.
It was so good.
And he does a good job of them. Just like I picture it like that. Those are good impressions of those actors as those characters in the original series. But I that's actually one of the things that surprised me most. I mean, you see a lot of these things that integrate pop culture references into it, but this really drives them home. I'm sitting there, I'm like, did they just make that reference? You know, half the time I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, so we got Star Trek, Lord of the Rings. I think he threw a Matrix one. I lost track. I just couldn't keep count of how many well done pop culture references there were. That when did this first book come out? And
hold on, I think I have that right here or not. No, I don't. I took it out. Hold on, I'll find it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it came out in like the late 2000s.
Yes, 2000.
Good.
This is good podcasting right now, Dayton.
I know. Yeah. We're gonna Google stuff, but even for now, it's I've only come across like 2 pop culture references that are kind of dated, but they're still kind of there. May of 2011 was when it was
11. Okay.
Yeah, but still, we're talking 14 years later.
Yeah.
Only like I said, a small handful. Like I can't even count on one hand how many pop culture references at this point have aged out.
Right. Yeah.
I think the only one that really struck me, and it wasn't even that it aged out, it was just that like he in another book he references like, well, if I fight the real Thor, I won't just have all of the Norse gods, but then like I'll come back and like Chris Hemsworth's Thor is gonna come and kick my butt, because that's how people see him nowadays. And like that just, it doesn't really date it. It just tells me like, oh, this is after like the first Thor and first Avengers movies.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that's what really surprised me about the book is its relevance still, and how like it took the concept of mythologies and just, as Liam said, kitchen sinked them all together, but created a mythos magic of its own, because they're talking about how later on how Mary manifests, how Jesus manifests. It's how people perceive them. Like the funniest line is when he meets Jesus in one of the books, and Jesus goes, well, at least my skin color's a little closer.
Yeah, he's like, at least I'm not like stark white anymore. Like,
I love the fact that he geeks out because he's doing shots with Jesus.
That was great.
Okay. The whole scene, because it was like, I thought he treated every interaction he had with anybody's like potential god or goddess, like I thought he treated it all respectfully, and it was still funny and everything like that. But the shots with Jesus, just I lost it. I was just like, oh yeah, just Jesus. Like, he's just
I mean, isn't that how you would react to?
Oh, yes,
like,
yeah, 100%.
Like that's the best part, is that like it's really, but yeah, like I don't. To be fair, I don't mean to criticize other urban fantasy or other, like I'm big into my urban fantasy, so I don't mean to criticize other people first, because it's a hard game to play, this shenanigans. But I just like, I guess what I really mean to say is that it's not just that he does everything, it's that he manages to keep it all balanced and make it work. It's not that he did it, it's that he did it well. Like,
I mean, and like think about, I mean, by the end of the series, I mean, he's hit every major like mythology, every single one. Like he's got Greek and Roman and has interactions with them. He hit the Japan stuff. He hit oh my god, the Russian pantheon he brought in.
Yeah, you got that Slavic in there.
Hindi.
Yep. I mean, so
he comes across the Hindi one as well.
He does Native American. I mean, he hits them all, and I mean, like it is. And he weaves them together so well that you're just like, and they're so distinct, right? I mean, they all have enough knowledge or enough writings about them that he can pull from, but he keeps them utterly distinct from one another, and kind of turns it on its ear, because the Thor that they actually fight and they go after is like not the Thor that you think of, because we all think, Chris Hemsworth or Thor, right? Like, woohoo, I got my hammer, let's go. But it was like, I mean, it's just, he was a bad guy. I mean, he was a jackass, an asshole. Everybody hated him. So, I mean, like, I just was like,
which is a fun interpretation, because it's like, it's like we're the way we all picture Thor is like the townsfolk in Beauty and the Beast
Yeah.
looking at Gaston, and then Atticus is like, no, let me show you how Belle sees Gaston, and he's a jerk. Like,
so one thing I will say for
does.
me, from my expectations for urban mythology, I had never heard of it called urban fantasy before. Like I grew up reading hardcore, deep fantasy stuff growing up. And this was kind of outside my normal fantasy expectations. So I didn't know what to expect. I can say that when I was done with book one, I had already gotten book two in my phone for listening, because I was just like, I was so enamored of the first book. It was just like, I got to listen to the next one. And it was rough because I had to listen to them as they came out. So, I mean, sometimes there was like a year and a half, 2
you
year
poor
pause.
man.
It was terrible. Okay. It was horrible, but it was worth it at the end, because like every time they would come back out, I'd be like, well, I guess I have to start listening from the beginning again. And I'd listen to it. So, but, one thing that I truly enjoyed was, the druidic magic and how it worked. Right, like his connection with the earth. Literally, he had to be connected to the earth in order for his magic to work. And he had developed these charms over the 22,000 years that he's alive, that he could, like he kept calling them macros. Right, he was using modern terminology on how to use ancient magic. So he's like, I created these macros, so I don't have to do this thing anymore, and I don't have to speak it out loud. And it was, to me, I really enjoyed how he thought of things and how he did it. But the magic itself, I was just like blown away by, because it's not like anything I'd heard of before. Right, I mean, I've played a druid in D&D. It's not this, like, at all.
Yeah, I really respect Kevin Hearne for going hardcore with, because the thing is, like, when you do this kind of thing, like, Greek, Roman, Norse, even Hinduism, and like some of the other like slightly lesser known ones are mythology wise are still easier to get into.
Yeah.
When you start getting into like when you start to getting into the witchcraft and mythologies of like Ireland and Wales and Scotland, that's when it really starts to get like hard to digest. It's weird. Like, you think Greek mythology is weird, like Irish mythology is insane. So I love that he not only chose that to be the core, because no one ever does it, but also like he managed to forge it in such a way that it's so easily digestible. Like, Atticus is the perfect way to get into Irish mythology and the Tuatha De Danann and all of that. It's such a like simple introduction.
And as the series goes on, you figure out that, the Bronze Age gods that are the Tuatha De Danann are assholes.
Yeah,
I mean, really. I mean, they're jerks. They're only out for themselves. And I like, bro, Bria comes into his house and burns down the cabinetry behind him and stuff, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, that's what I love about
one, or that might have been a later book, but whatever.
Well, that's one of the things I really think he did well, is when he went into the different religions and wrote some of these characters. I know, again, we're jumping ahead in the book series, but when he was writing about Thor being a dick, I mean, using his words, his words, he says Thor's a dick. It actually does take from some of the stories about Thor in the mythology. He wasn't, Chris Hemsworth's. Well, actually, if you think about the beginning of the first Thor, how arrogant, he is.
Yes.
That was a piece, a part, not the whole thing. But that was in some of the Norse stories. He was an arrogant asshole at times and all that. But then when he also writes about, the Tuatha De Danann, how they're all jealous, they're all like plotting for their own things, and they're all a bunch of horny motherfuckers. That was true. That's a big Celtic belief is, hey, have your fun, get your rocks off. There was reasons behind it, though. I mean, it was, think of it back then, you using an Irish stereotype, how they, have kids like rabbits. Well, back then you were lucky if one of your kids made it to like age 5,
right?
Made it to age 10. I mean, there's
a numbers game.
Yeah, it was a numbers game. There were roots behind these types of things, and it got personified in these deities, and he did a great job writing them in there. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, I've heard the names, I've read the names, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's a different way of spelling it, because there are. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's like thousands of years old, which another thing I find to be hilarious throughout the entire thing. I don't know if you guys if you guys kind of notice this. He's the oldest character out of all of them.
Yep.
But yet he still acts like he's a horny 21-year-old.
Yep. 100%. I love it. Like, yeah. He's not stodgy at all. He's like, he's like a teenager who's like still hasn't found that one wall that he has to hit in order to go, ooh, I need to use some caution.
Well, if you think about it, like, I'll use two character interactions that he has for a good example. When he sits there and he has these conversations with the widow, all the time. Oh yeah, that's she's one of my favorites. But the what I like about her is that she talks about life. She has this perspective of this really old person, and you get these little hints from him that's like, yeah, I remember what it's like to have, dozens of kids and all that over hundreds of years. But he doesn't ever really say it to her. She still sees him as this young dude, and he's hundreds of times older.
Oh
than
yeah.
she is.
Yeah.
And then his conversations when he's speaking with Leaf to this day, Leaf is probably the next oldest character that we see a lot of. He's like half of Atticus's age, and he still hasn't mastered vernacular. Like, he still speaks so formally and so old, and Atticus is just like teaching him slang, and Leaf just is like, what do you mean by that?
Did I not use that right, Atticus?
Yeah, when he tries, he actually looks at Atticus, and I'm sitting there like, but you've been around for 1,000 years too. Haven't you actually tried to blend in?
Nope.
When you're doing your stalking?
No college girl is gonna let you anywhere near her neck because you immediately look like a vampire, my dude.
So
well, at least it was sparkly. I did like the jab at that one.
Oh yeah, right. Oh my god, that was really good.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin Hearne blends serious threats and ancient mythology with humor and pop culture references. So did this balance work for you? And were there moments where the tone was like particularly resonated with you?
Yeah, I think that the balance worked great. Again, it's clear that Kevin, while he respects all mythologies and all manners of cultural storytelling, he has a particular connection to the Irish. I love Atticus is a great example of these kind of he's slightly different in his own way, but he's a great example of these kind of trickster characters where sometimes you have folk tales that are like trying to teach you a moral or a lesson, or this is how you should behave, do this, don't do that. And then sometimes you get a story where it's like, sometimes it's just fun to have a guy who's real smart in your corner. Sometimes it's just fun. It's like it's a sort of Looney Tunes vibe of like, sometimes it's just fun to have a clever friend.
Yep.
So yeah, these trickster characters are prominent in all cultures, but the Irish are some of the most famous, and so I really enjoyed how Kevin managed to work that in. It struck me the most in actually the opening scene when he's fighting those fairies and they're trying to like get all like Shakespearean, or like they're in John Borman's Excalibur and like challenge him to a duel, and he's just like he's just like, hey guys, let's think this through. I mean, do you really think that your pal Angus has your best interest at heart? And all the while he's like telegraphing an iron elemental to just gobble him up. I thought that was very Looney Tunes. Like that's very the druidic version of Bugs Bunny sticking his fingers in the gun to make Elmer Fudd blow up. And so I feel like that balanced out a lot.
I saw that he did balance it really well. I mean, there were it's something that kind of just occurred to me like as I started my second listen through on this is it almost comes through, and he kind of hints at some of these things throughout it. I mean, this guy's 2,000 years old. Think of the toll that longevity takes on your mental status. He even said it at one point, like the reason why he stopped giving his immortality. I love the puns on that, by the way.
Yeah. All his T puns are great.
Oh God, I could use some mobility or things like that. Well, anyways, as he was talking, talking about why he stopped giving it to his children was because they were kind of becoming assholes.
Yep.
And he talked about how it takes an effect on the mind. I think he actually was a little kind of addled, not necessarily the same way. You saw some of it in some of his interactions where he was. I mean, he comes out and flat says that he's paranoid throughout the entire series, but he also shows little signs of kind of like the cynicism. And this is mostly in his interior monologue to himself, but sometimes in his actions, he comes up with some of the cynical things that you only get when you've been around too long, which is why I thought that relationship with the Widow McDonough was so hilarious, because she's all happy, Irish Catholic old lady and all that. But then she's like, well, to hell with them Brits, it's stuff like that.
Yes. When he's got to bury the body. Oh no, Mrs. McDonough, he's a British. Oh, you come right on in the back there.
Yeah. But
which, if you know anything about the Troubles, like to this day, like that saying of a true friend will help you, a truer friend will help you bury a body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. The Sinn Féin is alive and well in Ireland, and so I love that hell with the British moment.
Yeah, it's just it's great how he balances that humor, but I don't know if he meant to do it or not, but he writes Atticus as a character who he does have 2,000 years of just burden on his shoulders. Being the only druid. I mean, he was the one who, I'll throw a little spoiler out to Liam here, because you learn about this in later books. He is the one who set up all of the tether points around, not just in the New World in America, all around the world. He's the one who spent hundreds of years creating these pathways from Earth to Tir na nog. And I'm just sitting there like, how often did he spend, like, just years,
alone,
if not decades or more, in almost total isolation, and what kind of toll that takes on it. And I think that kind of where it brings about his quirkier, zanier, more kind of like really kind
his
of
Robin Williams nature.
Oh yeah, almost. Yeah, you're right. Almost a Robin Williams nature on it, because it's kind of like this self-coping, self-protective mechanism.
100% agree.
On there, and again, I don't know if he did it on if Kevin Hearne did it on purpose or not, but it was a very smart character trait for him, and bring that into all these pop culture references, which I love how each book Oberon like fixates on one.
Yeah, he like wants to be Genghis Khan, and then he wants to be like the Merry Pranksters of '69.
Oh yeah,
their LSD and their like shenanigans
goes throughout the books, and writes it, and that's why I think Oberon, as much of animal thought that he is a good balance to Atticus, which is really, really a wonderful relationship written between the two of them.
Well, for me, I feel like what you're talking about with his 2,000 years weighing on him, I think as the series continues, you see and feel more of that, because you get more of his story as it continues, and it's heartbreaking. Like it's just heartbreaking, and you're just like, how are you still alive? Right?
Absolutely is. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for Liam, but his end, and the end of the book for him, the end of the series for him is
it's a good ending.
It is a really good, really well done ending, and I got this sense of just complete relief from him. Like it is now everything is off my shoulders. I don't have to worry about this anymore.
Read Ink and Sigil.
I'm not the last druid anymore or anything like that. What'd you say about Ink and Sigil?
Read Ink and Sigil. Like there is a period for that entire series. For this series, there is like a punctuation mark in that series that completes it.
Okay,
it's really worth it. One,
yeah.
Ink and Sigil is just a good series, but like there's really just a great like kind of punctuation mark there that you're just like, oh, okay,
yeah, and that's what I'll give out to our listeners. Anyone who picks up this book or just read through the whole series, listen to the whole series, whichever way you choose to, and you get to the end, because that ending for Atticus, I mean, just that last, like, what was it, an epilogue, or I don't even know.
It was the epilogue.
Just the end of it, just picturing him just kind of go. It's that moment.
It's a 2,000-year one too, right?
Yeah, it's a long time coming for him. Unbelievably great ending for him at the end of the story. It's not spectacular. It's not it's not over the top or anything like that. It's just he gets that mental reward that he's needed for 2,000 years.
Well, and that balance of humor and sincerity, it is a very Irish sentiment of like laughing in the face of death or the void or loneliness. You smile, you shrug it off, you have a drink, and you move on. But it's part of what makes him such a strong character. I love these kinds of stories like Lestat, the vampire, or the Doctor from Doctor Who, like the last of your kind, or the lonely one, fighting it with humor, because his friendship with the Widow McDonough is so interesting because, they talk the Irish together. They discuss history, and, she lived through the Troubles. And he gets to play the young one and let her vent to him about, back in the day when the British were like pillaging our country and killing all of our people. As if he didn't live through that, the older generation telling the younger generation, when it's so nice for him because he has always been in the widow's place. Because think about all the years he's lived. He's like almost since the beginning of the subjugation of the Irish people, like no matter where he goes, Druids and Irish in general are just subjugated. He's lived through the Romans and the Vikings, and he comes to America, and then he has to live through gangs in New York, and like Irish wars. Need not apply. Yeah, 2 world wars. Like he's lived through so much, and it's his connection to others, and in particular his humor, that keeps him similar to Lestat. Like Lestat has a thing in his book. Most vampires don't have the stomach for immortality. It's not slayers that kill them. They just walk into the sunlight because they can't take it anymore. Lestat makes it through with humor and music. And, with Atticus, it's his humor and his connection to others and to the earth. And it just makes him a really strong character, this balance that Hearne was able to strike.
So go ahead.
He writes it in where, even in the most serious subjects, he finds a way to bring humor to it, to, kind of, as you're saying, he uses humor and zaniness as a protective measure. One of the funniest but true like little anecdotes he talks about is like when not every time, but a lot of times when you see him running into battle, he strips naked, and like he'll put into nothing. And he actually talks about it, and this is true. Like the Celts would fight naked, and he makes a joke like nothing offsets you worse than than a pale white redheaded dude running buck ass naked at you with a sword. But the truth behind it is that it was more kind of the concept of because I believe it was the Romans who started the crew cut for their soldiers. It's something, it's one less thing that the enemy can grab on and use against you, because if you're stark naked, there's literally, well, I'm not gonna go down that far, but there's not much to really grab onto. They can't grab onto your clothes. They can't grab on anything like that. It was done for that nature. But I sit there and every time I see him when he does that, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, and what's nice is that
they see white naked guy running into battle.
They do tie that into the whole actual Druid story. Is like the reason people were naked was because Druids couldn't bind their clothing together to make the whole army trip. So, I mean, like he did that. So moving on. So how did the relationship between Atticus and Oberon like affect your reading experience? Like what did their telepathic bond add to the story that traditional human sidekick wouldn't have? Liam?
I think it was one of the best ways to not only convey Atticus's connection to his religion, but also like his folklore, like just having like sort of a traditional like Jimmy Olsen type of character wouldn't have really conveyed like how connected the Irish are to their cultural touchstones, and how like the description of how dedicated he was to not just getting an Irish wolfhound, but one that hadn't had all the wildness bred out of them, but one that was like as close as you could get to an Iron Age wolfhound that like rode into battle with them. Right. And it also shows like everything about a druid's life circles back to nature in one way or another. So even in this city that is large, that has easy access to nature, but is also largely of like concrete and metal and like modern things, he, even in his darkest moments, he has a connection to nature and to his homeland and to humor in his good buddy Oberon. And I also love their telepathic connection. They're able to really run afoul of the enemy, because while Atticus is, doing like his verbal shenanigans, distracting an enemy, Oberon can send a little message to him, and Oberon can like do a sneak attack. And I thought that was really, really fun and interesting to have that mental connection. Because
didn't Briss come after him in this one?
Yeah, this was Briss. And so while he's keeping Briss talking, Oberon's invisible, and he just sneaks up and knocks him over.
Yeah, Dana, what do you think? How did their bond work or not work for you?
It actually was the perfect compliment to Atticus, because using the Irish wolfhound was cute. It was a nice little cultural nod. He also talks about how the Irish wolfhounds, like the original Irish wolfhounds, were nothing like Oberon. But at the same point, there's all those kind of little ties, and you can see how much he really cares about Oberon, because at the end of this book he goes apeshit crazy when Angus kidnaps him.
Real Superman 2025 energy. Where's the dog, Angus? Where's the dog?
I think Oberon is probably the first anyone that he actually shared his like the immortality with, aside from until Granuaile later. But Oberon's the first one that he started doing that for again, and you can see it because
his wife.
Well, since then, since his wife,
okay, yeah, okay.
Since his wife and kids,
yes,
Oberon's the first one that he shares that with, because he wanted a companion to last a while, because he's sitting there saying describing Oberon being something like 15 some odd years old in this book, and Irish wolfhounds, they only live like 7-8 years. Yeah, they're short lived because they're larger dogs. Oberon is, in my opinion, the ultimate man's best friend in this book.
Yeah.
Because as you're talking about, Liam, they do coordinated fights. He tells, all right, Oberon, I want you to lay right behind his feet, and just like knocks him over. Or he tells Oberon to create all kinds of mischief, even over at the Widow McDonough's house.
With the cats.
Chase the cats, have fun with the cats. And also he sits there on that, and Oberon has this exuberant, just like 3-year-old dog energy perpetually. It's so fun to see that, and it really does balance out Atticus, because he sees in Oberon that everything, that innocence, and no matter what he goes through or anything like that, you can count on Oberon to have either a wisecracking observation on it, or a really kind of innocent, unbiased kind of view, although Oberon does admit some biasnesses,
Yes.
especially he doesn't like squirrels.
No, he does like sausages and poutine.
He does like, yeah, sausages and in his words, and bitches.
Oh my God, I love Oberon.
But it is that great man's best friend relationship. I don't think it would have worked with any other animal. Kind of like what you see with another character who bonds with a sloth later on, and I'm like,
yes,
okay, it matches personality. I think that's a good way of looking at it. Oberon matched his personality really well.
I would argue that without Oberon, there's not a book.
Kind of like the droids from Star Wars.
Kind of, but without Oberon, I don't know that we'd have a book. I don't think the book, if you take Oberon out of just even book one, and I understand that he's like a plot point for this one, but let's say we use anything different. I don't think that if you do not have Oberon and Flittish just draws the attention and ire of Angus Og to start the whole thing, I don't think you still have a book. I really think that Oberon is critical to the overall storytelling of the entire series.
It wouldn't work as well. I don't think without Oberon, I don't think the series would have lasted as long as it did.
No,
because Oberon definitely he feels like the heart of the series.
Because without him, there's no comic relief. I think Atticus is a darker human being. I think that a lot of his hiding would have still gone on. I really think I just think honestly in my heart of hearts that if there's no Oberon, there's no story. Just there just isn't. He's like my favorite character out of these series. Like I love Atticus, I love Granuel, but I think Oberon for everything is just amazing.
Well, and in his own way, I think he's like the ultimate sidekick. Like it's kind of like the primo hero and sidekick Batman and Robin. Like you need Robin to sometimes to like Batman doesn't just need somebody to talk to. Like I feel like particularly Dick Grayson's Robin, later Nightwing, Batman talks several times about how easy it would be for him to slip into that dark place and become just as bad as the villains he fights. I feel like in particular Dick Grayson's Robin / Nightwing is what keeps him from going into that place. He needs the younger, he needs the funnier, he needs the wise ass, he needs that symbol of hope, because that's part of why he respects Superman so much, is that Superman never loses hope, and sometimes Batman does. So like sometimes you need a Robin to remind you that there's something that we're fighting for. Right.
So how about your favorite supernatural being that Atticus meets?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Stumper?
That really is tough. I mean, honestly, I really enjoy the Morrigan, just because, like, again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but I do it a lot on this podcast, so why stop now? I really enjoy, like, Kevin really gets the Irish mythology, because if you read the stories, anytime the Morrigan comes up, if you read through the Dagda or the story of Finn McCool, if you read into Irish writings and you read all the stuff with the Morrigan and then you read this, you're like, yeah, that's totally the same person. I really enjoy the Morrigan's lust for blood. I love her. I love that she is our gateway into gods have a hard time keeping track of new developments. That's what druids are for. Druids are their Google search engine to that's their news feed to keep them updated. It's Afghanistan now, honey. But so I love that the Morrigan, she is truly a death goddess. She is a goddess of war and death and darkness. She doesn't really have she doesn't have friends, but she has allies. She has people she respects, and they never lean too far into her emoting the same way Atticus or another human would. And so I really enjoy all the interactions with the Morrigan, and especially when she's slightly inaccurate in her prophecies, and she's like, you still got attacked though. They punctured my tires with darts.
So again, read Ink and Sigil. There's some Morrigan in there too.
Yay, more Morrigan. Yeah, the
Really?
Morrigan's my
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you guys, Ink and Sigil is like I just got done reading it a couple months ago. It like it's a 3-book series, pretty easy read, really easy listen. Highly recommend. Continuing, Dana, what was your favorite supernatural being Atticus met?
Well, sorry, Liam, you stole my thunder because Morgan was going to be mine, but I have a
triple play because I would have chosen the Morgan too.
But I'll add to it a little bit. But then
okay.
I had a secondary one ready to go. But yeah, and it's the fact that she's so deadpan and serious. Like she is like if you were to put them on a coin, she is the flip side of the coin to Atticus.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just shows up stark naked and doesn't give two fucks about it. Like she doesn't care. She just shows up, whenever she really wants to and all that stuff. And she is just so brutal and primal that one instance not in the first book where she and Atticus just
was it the sex magic?
Sheets.
The sex magic to get magic. He grew his ear back.
And later on, he still refers back to it, even in like the third book, how Oberon thought he had the shit beat out of him. Just how
it sounded like she was ripping you to pieces.
Yeah, how brutal she is, and that I mean, when you think about it, she's a death goddess, so yeah, of course she's gonna be brutal and all that. But you get hints on it where he tries to, because he makes that deal with her to be the only person that she shows how to make the
amulet.
The cold iron amulet through and all that. He kind of like, well, it might help to make friends. And she's like, how am I going to make friends? And she's like, well, maybe, be polite, say thank you, teaching him all these things. So, but that was my runner up though. The second one I had, Jesus, when he meets Jesus, it's great. It's so hilarious, that entire scene. We're jumping ahead a couple books where they're just sitting down and he's doing shots of the good Irish whiskey,
the good
stuff
with them, and they're throwing back some beers, and Jesus just sits there and he's like, these fish and chips are good. I think everyone will like them. And then it's just like
he does the loaves and fishes. Yeah,
he does the fish miracle. Oh, it was so good.
He does these miracles like it's nothing, and then he's just it's the truest like kind of description of Christ. I'm born and raised Catholic. Is that pacifist is not the I guess the best role, but completely non-confrontational.
Yes.
Like he sits there and he just kind of has this deadpan conversation with the hammers of God, and like when one of them like throws a knife and sinks it into him, he just like he just kind of pulls it out like it's nothing.
Verily I say unto you.
Yes, but that scene where he meets him, he does meet him again later too. But when he meets Jesus, it's a very kind of like Jesus himself says it's great. Most people want to sit down and ask me about what the plan is. They want to know about the universe. They want to get off all their sins. You, Atticus, you just want to have a beer.
Yeah, you want to have a beer and fish and chips. Yeah.
Beer and fish and chips, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I love that interaction. I mean, there are so many good ones. Like the ongoing interactions with Coyote are funny as well.
Yes.
I wanted to pick Coyote so bad, but I was trying to limit myself to the first book.
That is very true, and I know the first book you figure the only real supernatural beings he meets in the first book are just the members of the Tuatha De Danann.
Not true.
Which one did he meet?
Doesn't he meet Laksha?
What other ones?
Yeah, Laksha. She's fun.
She was my second choice. Or is that book two? I always get them confused. So
no, Laksha, he does meet because Laksha does help him.
That's what I thought.
Because she helps him beat the head of the coven before
that's
right.
takes over. But I thought we were, we were like containing ourselves to gods. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I just
but
because she was supernatural. I mean, she was as old as he was almost.
Almost.
Was she? I didn't think she was that old.
Yeah, no, she was old.
I knew she was old. I thought she was younger than Leaf, though. I thought she was only like a couple hundred years old.
She's like in between the two of them, I think.
Oh, okay.
She's like there's Atticus,
I'll have to look
Lasha,
it up.
and then Leaf.
Yeah. But that was my second one. So who's your favorite character other than Atticus overall?
Oberon. It's not and my guy, it's not close.
No, I am 100% the same. I am there.
Yeah.
He's the goodest boy. He is the goodest boy that ever was a boy. I love him so much. He's so brave, even when he gets captured and they're like hurting him. He's so brave, and he's always there for his buddy Atticus. And I just love everything about him. I'm so excited for that Oberon's Bath Time book because I just want all Oberon all the time.
If I can find myself to just this first book, I have to agree. Oberon, with the Morgan being like the closest second on that, because when she shows up, it's just it's just too like it's like kind of out of place that her scenes stick out. But Oberon is just he's just this ball of energy.
And I'll be honest, out of the entire series, every book, if we do every book, I would pick Oberon every time. Like I just think he's that critical a character to the overall thing. And don't get me wrong, because I thought Ratatosk was a really cool character. I thought Jesus, absolutely 100%. Jesus is one of my favorite characters, but then he meets like so many other different deities, like the Russian god of thunder.
Perun.
Perun, my boy Perun.
I love Perun. I think he's hysterical. But Oberon still wins. Now that's a closer one, though, I will say.
I will say later books, and I'll do a small little spoiler for Liam. Sorry, there is one character though that in the later books that he's introduced later on, he kind of starts taking over. Like when he starts writing and start doing the chapters from different character perspectives.
Owen O'Kennedy.
Yes.
Oh my
Owen
God.
O'Kennedy.
He was so needed at that point in the series.
Yeah.
So needed. Oh my God, dude, you got to get to Owen O'Kennedy.
Don't worry, I'm picking up the series again.
Yeah.
But no, if I had to pick from the rest of the series that I've read so far, Oberon's like the bestest. But close second is going to be Coyote. I love Coyote.
Yeah.
Coyote's great.
So I would have to say, if you look at the entire series, Oberon is the only character aside from Atticus, that really throughout the entire book series stands out as like the heart, the soul of it. But in the later books, Oberon, I don't want to say takes a back seat, but Owen O'Kennedy really does. Owen just becomes so.
I cannot wait for you to meet Owen. Owen O'Kennedy.
He starts supplanting Oberon in that comic relief role, because him just oh gosh, I
love his chapter. He's like chapter 27
when
he starts reading, and it's just like it's hysterical.
The I'd say the funniest scene that he has with it between Atticus and him is when Atticus gives him the immortality for the first time. And he doesn't tell him side effects.
Okay. It's time for our bonus round. We're not
talking about those yet. We're a little further
bonus round time.
Yeah, it's time for our bonus round. Okay, so I want each of us to cast people for a film for this book, right? So, but you can only choose 4 characters. So tell us your characters, and then tell us like Atticus and who you choose and stuff like that. So I chose Atticus. You didn't have to choose Atticus, but I chose Atticus. So Liam, who are your 4 characters, and who would you choose to play them?
So for Atticus, I really want an Irishman to play him. That would be nice for me. I honestly, this might come out of left field, but I thought about Jack Gleason.
Okay.
because he like you really only see him as a vicious role in Joffrey, but if you watch the behind the scenes or like some of the press stuff for Game of Thrones, like Jack's got a really good sense of humor. He's a fun guy, and if you there's a thing coming up called House of Guinness. If you look at some of the photos of him in that, like he looks really good, and I feel like he's got that face where like the man's 33, but he still looks like he's like 20. Yeah. So that fits Atticus. But my runner-up for Atticus is Charlie Cox, because if you watch him as Daredevil, like he's definitely Matt Murdock has a lot of the same vibes.
Okay, so who is your next character?
I did Granuaile, and I picked Emma Stone because yeah, because I really enjoy her as an actress, especially her comedic work. Like two of my favorite movies of hers are The Help and Easy A. And I feel like if you watch those two movies, you can totally see she'd make a great Granuaile.
So who's your third?
I picked Angus Oak because I wanted to cast one of the villains.
Okay,
but I had if I tried to cast one of the witches, like I had too many options.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't pick just one. So I went with Angus. It's an obvious choice for me. Angus Oak is going to be played by Lee Pace. Because, again, you really only see him as a serious actor as Thranduil in the Hobbit trilogy. But if you watch the behind the scenes, especially when he talks about filming the Battle of the Five Armies, Lee Pace has a wicked sense of humor, and I feel like he'd make a great Angus Oak. And then my fourth, Oberon, John Williams, you said that Luke Daniels' voice for Oberon is how you think all dogs talk.
Yeah.
He is now my second go-to voice.
Ooh, okay.
My first go-to voice, however, is and always will be Brian Henson as the dog in Jim Henson's The Storyteller. Okay. So I would love to see Brian Henson bring that storyteller's dog energy to Oberon, and it would be
holy moly,
fabulous.
That's actually really good.
So that's my cast.
Okay, so Dana, what about you? I know you only have three, and that's fine.
Well, I may have come up with a fourth one. Let me just run through them here. So I didn't do Atticus because I couldn't think of an Irish actor in that age group that I could see on it. But so I'm going to set Atticus aside. I'm going to go for other characters. So I'm going to start with Oberon. Nice. I had to, and I had mentioned before we started recording that I might be, channeling, souls of the dead, and maybe we can have the Morgan bring them back for us for a short time. There we go. So I'll go with, I had two, a winner and a runner up. The winner actually was Simon Pegg. I would love to hear his take on it because he has that nice little voice on it. But the runner-up, I would love to hear Robin Williams do a voice like that because he does. Have you ever seen Absolutely Anything? Is that what it's called? Yeah. He actually does the voice of the dog in that movie too, and it's hilarious. Yeah. He would do a great job with Oberon.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
So other characters, so the Morgan. Not just because the whole nudity thing on it, which that would be interesting if they did that in a movie version of it, but no. After watching her as Maleficent, I think just straight up that she would be perfect for that role, just bringing that
and you're talking about Miss Angelina, right?
Oh, absolutely, Angelina Jolie, bringing that dark, just kind of aura about.
Oh my god, that would be kind of amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't have to you don't have to do the nudity. And
no, skip all that. But like I see where you're going. That's the perfect one.
After watching her as Maleficent, just that pale kind of like cold, like I think Morgan goes a little further and a little colder than she does in Maleficent. I think she could channel it really well. That'd be a wonderful casting, just because she could bring that to the character there.
It's not just about her having a banging body. We think that Ava would actually we actually think she would be good for the role. We're thinking with our brains, we promise.
Yes, thinking with this head up here.
Your third?
She just so dark and so just not like cruel, not like mean,
No.
you know, malintent.
Dispassionate. Dispassionate.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Dispassionate.
So then you're third, brother.
So my third one, this one I'm going to go backwards on. I'm this actor. I could actually see him doing either Hal Hawk.
Oh, nice.
Or Gunnar Magnuson.
Okay.
Gerard Butler.
Oh.
I could see him being either of those two werewolves, and that would be
yeah, he'd be really good.
Yes,
because he's Stoic the Vast in How to Train Your Dragon, so he's got like the comedy, but also like Gerard can be like stern when he wants to be. He can be like domineering,
exactly,
and bring that alpha energy for sure.
But both the characters end up being alpha, but not so much just that energy. But when I listen to his voice, he could turn on that gruff kind of like, you know, the voice that you can just tell has just been, I don't want to say mangled, but it's just been like kind of roughed up by years of just howling and just, you know, screaming in the transformations. He could pull that off in his action there. So that was the one I'd actually just thought of. Not too long ago. But for my fourth one, again, I'm channeling the souls.
We'll do it during Samhain. It's okay.
Yeah, we'll do Samhain. Yeah. But for number 4, though, Widow McDonough, Jessica Tandy. After watching her in Batteries Not Included, she would her character in that kind of innocence that only comes with dementia of old age. Although I know the Widow was definitely not, but she would do an excellent job as the Widow.
I was thinking like an older Maureen O'Hara. Because like if you watch her in The Quiet Man, like it's that level of sass. So like just get her when she's 50 instead of 30, you know?
Right.
Yep.
So
she'd have a great level of sass in that role.
So for me, I did Atticus. I you know what I didn't do? I didn't do Oberon, which I feel terrible about, but mine would have been Oberon and Luke Daniels. But now that I heard Robin Williams is thrown out there too, that's wow, that'd be a good one. Anyhow, Atticus, I chose Jacob Elordi. He's an Australian actor, and he was first became famous for his role as Noah Flynn in The Kissing Booth.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Mine are deep pools, like mine are very deep pools. Like if you don't watch a lot of foreign films, you might not get these. So, Granuel, I did. I'm gonna screw her name up. It's Thomasin McKenzie. She's a New Zealand actress, and she's best known for her role as Elsa in the Jojo Rabbit.
Yes. So, she'd be real good.
And I went for looks and tried to get like at least somebody who might be able to throw an accent, right? So that was mine. Okay, I thought this was almost too much on the nose. Leif Helgerson. I went with Alexander Skarsgård.
Who else could you cast? Come on.
Right? I'm sorry.
You could get Bill. Bill would do a good job. Either one of the Skarsgård brothers.
Yeah, either one would do it. I thought it was like, you know, too much on point because he was also in True Blood. So there was that.
Okay.
But no, because don't think True Blood though, because I believe he was the main character in The Northman.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Yeah. So if you think about that movie, like it can't be anybody else.
He's a Viking. So I thought that would be perfect. And then I also chose the Widow McDonough because I really loved her role. Like I loved her. I chose Brenda Fricker. She is an Irish actress whose career spans 6 decades on stage and screen. I thought she'd be the perfect age, and she's already Irish. I'm like, put her on a porch, give her Irish whiskey, and let her Tullamore
Dew on the rocks, baby.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, guys, this has been so much fun that I might actually stop listening to what I'm listening to now just so I can go back and start over the whole trilogy again because I love this series so much. I'd like to thank you both for being with me tonight. Dana, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Liam, always a good time. I'm glad you didn't cut yourself with your sword tonight.
Oh, no, I got it right here, and I'm ready to slay any demons that cross our path. I'm ready to quest with you anytime, brother.
Awesome. And I'd also like to thank our Patreon members. Don't forget, you too can become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Head on over to Patreon, Docking Bay 77, and join us for all of those perks. Now you get to see us. We're going to start posting the videos of us every time and get to see us on all of our gloriousness.
Yeah, you can see the props that I'm holding up instead of just listening to me describe them.
Right. So a couple of our upcoming episodes.
You can see our drinks too.
Oh, amen. Yeah, we might have an adult beverage or two hiding behind these microphones. Upcoming episodes, we've got top 7 John Williams scores. Now that's piece specific, not just an entire piece of John Williams music. So just one piece. And then we also have the top 7 film directors. So until next time, this is John Williams hosting out for Hounded. Don't forget, physical media is better than streaming.
The Docking Bay 77 podcast is produced and edited by Dayton Johnson. Recorded with Rode Pod mics, the Zoom PodTrack P4, and edited on Audacity. Opening music provided by Eric Jason Brock. You can find him on YouTube and Bandcamp. Thank you for listening.
We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with sleep. The Tempest.